Okay, I know a lot of you missed on Friday because of the Romeo and Juliet field trip, so I wanted to do and explain everything for Lesson 8.8 so you could see what you missed. In Lesson 8.8, we are going to be doing factoring by grouping, and anytime I have 4 terms, that's how I know when I need to do factor by grouping. So what I do is when I come down here and I'm going to look at my polynomial, I have 3n cubed minus 12n squared plus 2n minus 8. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create 2 groups. And so my first group is going to be 3n cubed minus 12n squared. The second group is going to be 2n minus 8. In each group, now I need to find the greatest common factor. So in my first group, I can take out a 3 and an n squared. Since they both have n's, remember we take out the lowest exponent. When you take out a greatest common factor, what you're actually doing is dividing it. Matching pairs top and bottom go away. Variables, you subtract the exponents. So n to the third over n squared, we get n to the 1, or just an n. I'll bring down the minus sign. 12 over 3 is 4, and then n squared over n squared goes away. I'm going to bring down this plus sign, and then I need the greatest common factor out of 2n minus 8. So the greatest common factor there is just a 2. I can't take an n out because this 8 does not have an n. So 2 over 2 goes away. I get n minus 8 divided by 2, or 4. For my final answer, it's 2 binomials multiplied together. The first binomial is going to be my greatest common factors. So I'm going to take my 3n squared and my plus 2, and we're going to put that in a group. My other binomial is going to be my common binomial. Did you notice that these two are the same binomial? When you factor by grouping, they will need to be the same, and that's what goes over here, this n minus 4, my common binomial. Okay, I could check this if I FOIL, so we can always check. This is my final answer, by the way. So I'm going to write this over here for a little bit of room. 3n squared plus 2 times n minus 4. We could always check with the FOIL. So if I do my 3n squared times n, that gives me 3n to the third. 3n squared minus 4, I get negative 12n squared. 2 times n, we'll get 2n, and 2 times negative 4, negative 8. You can see that that is what you started with, so that you know you're correct. Okay, the other problem, this little got it problem, I'm going to leave that for you guys to try, but I want you to check it with the FOIL. Okay, going on to problem 2, it's very similar to problem 1. However, we have a greatest common factor. If you could take a greatest common factor out, you need to do that first. So the first step here is going to be to take out a GCF. So looking at all of my terms, I could take out a 4q. Now remember, when I take out the greatest common factor, that's like me dividing everything in the original polynomial by 4q. So you can write that in if you would like to, if you want to just show that you are actually dividing everything by 4q. By 4q. Sorry, it's hard for me to write on this. It's getting a little sloppy. But if we divide it all by 4q, you'll get q to the third minus 2q squared. Okay, minus 2q squared it is. And then it's going to be plus 3q. And it's going to be minus 6. The q's at the end there go away. Okay, so now it's just like the first problem that I went over with you. We have to keep this 4q, our main GCF, main GCF in the final problem. So this is going to just come down, and then I'm going to begin to make my two groups. Q to the third minus 2q squared, and then it's going to be plus 3q minus 6. My 4q comes down. Now I need the greatest common factor in the first group. That's going to be q squared. Remember, you're dividing when you take out a greatest common factor. So I'll get q minus 2. Over here, the greatest common factor is going to be a 3. So if I divide it all by 3, I'll get q minus 2. Now I'm ready to do my final answer. So my final answer, remember, is going to be two binomials multiplied together. The first one is going to be the GCFs. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my q squared plus 3. That's going to be in my first group. My common binomial will be in the second group. And did you notice, I didn't point this out, but we had q minus 2 in both of those binomials. That's good. That means you're on the right track to get this answer. But that's going to be the second binomial of your answer, is your common binomials. So my common binomial is q minus 2, q minus 2. I just write it once. And then, class, we have one other thing to throw in there, and that's that 4q. My main GCF from the original problem has to be in my final answer. So altogether, this is the final answer. Okay, there's another one for you to try, so you guys can go ahead and try that. And I did want to talk about just some special cases, so I'm going to go to the next page for that. Okay, so some special cases. Sometimes they'll give you something like this. They'll give you like 20h to the third plus 6h plus 10h squared plus 3. If you get something like that, it's very hard to factor this by grouping because this is not in standard form. So always put your polynomial in standard form first. I would do 20h cubed, we would do, that'd be first, then it would be my 10h squared, then it would be the 6h, then plus 3, okay? So now I could factor by grouping. Now I could make my 20h cubed, oops, got a little ahead of myself there, 20h cubed plus 10h squared, and then my 6h plus 3. Okay, greatest common factor would be 10h squared, so you'd get 2h plus 1. Greatest common factor here would be 3, so you'd get 2h plus 1. And then there we have it. My greatest common factors, that 10h squared plus 3, that's going to be one binomial. And then my common binomial, the one that was the same, is going to be the second part. Remember, guys, we could always check. So I have my greatest common factors here. I'm just going to kind of color code this so you can see where I'm getting this stuff from. But regardless, you could always check with the FOIL. So when you're working on the IXL for this, if you get to a problem that's not in standard form, always put it in standard form first. Okay. Here's just a little summary about factoring. Always start with the greatest common factor. If it has one, you have to take it out. And then it kind of goes through a list of the other things that we learned, like difference of perfect squares and a perfect square trinomial. The assignment for today, guys, was IXL AA7. Okay, so go ahead. You can work on that on Monday morning. I will have tutoring. It's at 8 a.m. So if you want to come to that, you just send me an email and I'll email you a pass. On Monday in class, we are going to work on the chapter 8.5 through 8.8 review. It's already in Canvas if you want to get a jump start on that. On Tuesday in class will be the chapter 8 test. If you have any questions on this assignment, on the IXL, anything for next week, please just email me. Hope you guys have a good weekend. We're almost to spring break. Bye.